And joining us on the line, it's great to welcome back to Flow. We spoke to her a little while ago. We've got her on the line again. It's Sharna Burcher. G'day, Sharna. How are you today?
Oh, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. Last time we were chatting to you, it was about your song. I think it was Backwards Town?
Yes.
And that, which I ended up asking you, was it about Broken Hill? And you kind of said it was, but it wasn't. So did you get any flack from anyone about it? And they said, hang on, this is about our town here. And how did that go?
I didn't actually. I was half expecting to be run out of town for that song, but no, everyone took it how it was intended, as just a bit of fun and bit cheeky, and yeah, so I'm glad about that.
Nothing wrong with that. Those little cheeky songs. I thought it was great, and I think that's what you need. You need a bit of a cheeky song about a town because it helps you to really fall in love with your town again a bit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it was. It's a good song. I'm proud of that song.
As you should be. And your current single is a million miles away from that song. So talk about being diverse and having the talent to be that diverse. This song, it's called The Hardest Parts. And when I first listened to it, I thought this is one of those songs that you might need a box of tissues with.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely not like Backwards Town at all. It's a bit more serious. It shows my serious side, I guess. And yeah, it's the first love song I've ever written. So
yeah.
There's that. And yeah, it's a bit of a sad one. But it was, I guess, a song that I just needed to write at the time. And yeah, I'm so proud that I've got to record it and release it. Because it was definitely one of those ones where I sort of sat back and went, oh, do I really want people to listen to this? So I want them to know that much, but I'm so glad I did. I've had people come up to me and go, I relate so much to that song because my mum died, or my dad, or my brother, or and it's such a nice feeling to have people connect with this song.
Absolutely, and listening to it, that's what I found, and I could relate to it as well, losing my father, and I thought, oh, this is where we're going to go on this. But as you said, it was a bit of a love song as well, and that sort of is that little happiness twist that we do get through these moments. Even though you're grieving and it's the pain of grieving, there is the other side of it. And sometimes at the beginning of it all, you don't think there is a way out. You think you're in the tunnel and you're going to stay there. But listening to your song, it's reminding us that, yeah, you're going to have those Thursday afternoons as you sing and those warm June days and all that, and those wintry days. Yeah, there to start with, but that's not the end of it. We're going to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that was the point of the song, the song sort of come about, I lost my mum, and then not quite 2 years later, my partner lost both his mum and his dad in the same year, 5 months apart. So it was a really hard time for us. It was tough. It was emotional, and, we were both we were both grieving. And, it's hard because we're both trying to support each other and do the best we can, but we're both sort of stuck in that that grief cycle. And yeah, it was hard for a while there. Like you said, you're in that tunnel and you don't know that you're going to get out of it, but you do. And that's what this song's about. It's about coming out the other side, and we're going to make it through this. So
when you're performing this song, how long does it take before you start thinking about your mum?
That first line.
I had wondered that.
Yeah. Yeah, that first line, which, and it's not a bad thing anymore. I use it as the song shows me, it reminds me of how far we've actually come, and, the strength that we've found to get to where we are. So, yeah, it's not a sad thing for me or a bad thing. It's a nice reminder of, the strength that you find when you need it.
Absolutely, and it's going through something like grief. That's when you do find not just your personal strength, but the strength around your family and how you all deal with it, and so it does get you through it. But it's a beautiful song, and from Go to Woe, it really gets you. And that opening line it kind of sets the scene and the tone. So I had wondered whether that was, the trigger with your mother as well. So thanks for sharing that with us, Sharna.
No worries. It's like I said, it's great it's one of those songs that I did have to think twice about whether or not I wanted to release it. But at the end of the day, I think I needed to release it, and I'm just so glad I did. Yeah. I'm so glad.
As I think we are as well. Okay, changing tack now. Let's get to some happy stuff. Now, I read in your notes here, in your bio, that you've performed in Canada and in the USA as well. So what was that experience like?
Oh, that was incredible. One of the best experiences ever. And, to just get that in just before COVID hit. I'm so glad I got to do that. It was, I think, just one of the best times I've ever had, getting to travel through and play for different sorts of people over there and meet people that also, really connected to my music. It was just an amazing experience.
Did you notice a difference in the crowds in Canada and the US, or were they virtually the same?
They're pretty much the same. They're all just music lovers. They just love music, and they just sit and listen, and they love all types of music. I think that was what was so it just amazed me over there when we played at the Fred Eagle Smith charity festival. They had a mariachi band, and then they had a rock blues band, and then me and Bill all back to back. So, and the crowd didn't waver. They sat there through every single set and listened to every single one of us. And it just, it was incredible. How
was, when you've come back in, have you done any shows back here and do you sort of think, I wish the crowds were like they were in Canada and the US?
Sometimes, some crowds. It depends where you play here. But no, Australians, you can't beat coming home and playing to us Aussies. It's different, but it's just as fulfilling.
Did you get to talk to other artists and sort of swap notes on how you write songs and gain some insight and sort of knowledge to help you with your songwriting?
Not so much over there. I did do the Academy of Country Music a few years ago in Tamworth, and that was sort of my first time being exposed really to other songwriters. I live out in Broken Hill, so there's not many of us out here, and not many country songwriters out here. So, the Academy was sort of my first taste of being around like-minded people and sort of learning how other people write. I didn't actually know you could structure it. I'm not structured at all. So I didn't know there was, formulas that people use. So it was really interesting. But, I have to say it hasn't majorly changed the way I write. I think it's one of those things. There's no rules. There's just lots of ways to do it, and you just got to find what works for you.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. That's what I find when I talk to many artists. Each has their own individual way of doing it, and it's unique to them. So whatever works. Now, Sharna, I understand you've got an album coming out later in the year. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so The Hardest Part's the second single off of that album. There'll be one more single, and then I will release the album. I'm very excited to finally get this album released. I recorded it back in 2019, so it's a long time coming. It's been ready for well over 12 months now, but COVID sort of put me back a bit. But very excited to get this released and get the 12 tracks out into the world, and hopefully people will respond to them as good as they have the last two songs I've released.
Oh, I think they will, I guess the next thing is, will you then be hitting the road and then performing the tracks in this album to us around the country? Yeah,
I'm definitely hoping to. Definitely hoping to get out and about a bit more next year. COVID permitting, obviously. COVID needs to behave itself now.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Well, hopefully, if you're ever anywhere near the Flow Studios, you're more than welcome. So. Just putting that out there, planting the seed. So who knows? We might see you in our studios performing for us. Maybe. Who knows?
Yes, hopefully.
And
I'd love to.
And so you got another song coming out, then the album. Is there anything else happening with you, looking forward to the rest of this year and into the start of next year?
No, just trying to get all that done now. So, yeah, that's my goal for this year, is to work on getting this album released and out to as many people as I can reach, and, getting some shows booked.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about the album later in the year as we get closer to it, and we'll have a different conversation about that. But in the meantime, we've got your latest single here ready to go, Sharna. It was a pleasure chatting to you last time, even more so this time. Take care in the hill, look after yourself, and I'm sure many are going to love this track. If you could please introduce it for all our Flow listeners, and thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. You're listening to Sharna Burcher, The Hardest Part.
We made it through the winter, you know the one, when my mother died. We made it to November, when we watched the light leave your father's eyes. We found our way, though, forever changed, never the same again. Both our hearts were lost in the dark. We fell miles apart. We were broken. But just like the wine that we keep on the shelf, we keep getting better and better as the years fly by and the days roll on. We can say we made it through together when the water's rough and our days are dark. Babe, I know we'll make it through the hardest parts. I guess we learned the hard way. Time is a thief, and it waits for no one. But we learn how to be brave, saying goodbye to both our mothers who left us way too